House will come to order. Members, today's prayer will be given by Eli Mooney. He is a ninth grader, attends Gateway Classical here in Montgomery, and is the guest of Chairman Ingram.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I praise you for being the Good Shepherd, the everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Lord, I thank you for this day and for everything that you've given us. I thank you for the freedom we have because of the people who are willing to fight and are willing to fight for our country and freedoms. I thank you specifically for the freedom of press, speech, and religion. I thank you for an ordered government that we can rely on to make laws to protect the people. I thank you that I have the opportunity to come forward these ladies and gentlemen and pray on behalf of them in the state and country. I pray for the prosperity of the United States. I pray for the efficiency of this House. I pray that these people would be able to get done what needs to be done today. I pray that these people would act in a way that is honorable, that everything they do would be something that pleases you and contributes to the furthering of your will, and that no animosity, deceit, or strife would be among them. I pray that your will would be done today as it always is. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Members, today's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Charles Phoenix. He is a 12th grader at Montgomery Academy and is a member of the state championship soccer team. Congratulations on that. He's also part of the Jack and Jill of America Incorporated, and he is the guest of Representative Clark.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call roll.
Mr. Speaker, Albright, Baker, Barnes, Bedsole, Blackshear, Bolton, Boyd, Bracy, Brinyart, Brown, Butler, Carnes, Chestnut, Clark, Klaus, Collins, Colvin, Crawford, Crow, Daniels, Datcher, Drummond, DeBose, Easterbrook, Ellis, England, Ensler, Estes, Faulkner, Fiddler, Fincher, Fort, Garrett, Gidley, Gavan, Givens, Gray, Hall, Hammett, Harrison, Hassel, Hendricks, Hill, Holt-Jones, Hollis, Hulsey, Hurst, Ingram, Jackson, Jones, Keel, Kirkland, Lamb, Lands, Lawrence, Lee, Lipscomb, Lomax, Lovern, Marcus, McCampbell, McClammy, Mooney, Moore M, Moore P, Morris, Myricks, Nelson, Oliver, Paramore, Pascal, Pettis, Pringle, Rafferty, Ream, Reynolds, Rigsby, Robbins, Robertson, Ross, Sellers, Sells, Shaver, Shaw, Shirey, Simpson, Smith, Sorrell, Stahagen, Standridge, Starnes, Stringer, Stubbs, Tillman, Travis, Treadaway, Underwood, Wadsworth, Warren, Witt, Wharton, Wilcox, Wood, Yarbrough.
Sixty members have answered roll quorum is present. The chair recognizes Chairman Ingram for special recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the resignation. I'd like for Representative McClammy to come up. This is actually, the sheriff lives in her district. Penny, if that is okay with you, Mr. Speaker. I want to hand it off to you. The sheriff lives in your district. He's a dear friend, but this is all you.
Thank you. I am honored to introduce to some and to others a very dear friend that I have, I don't know when I haven't known him in my life. And so with this, I would like the chair to recognize, are there any objections to me giving the floor privilege to Sheriff Derek
How
Cunningham?
about let's make a motion to suspend rules for privilege? How's that?
I move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? It is granted.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there aren't any objections, hearing no objections, floor privileges are. Shh. What did you print for me? Okay.
Welcome to the floor, Sheriff Cunningham. Congratulations.
As I was saying. Someone wrote all this out. Will the clerk please read the resolution?
Clerk, just read the resolution.
Whereas, with great pride and special pleasure, we highly honor Montgomery County Sheriff Derek Cunningham for being named the 2026 Ferris E. Lucas Sheriff of the Year by the National Sheriff's Association. And whereas Derek Cunningham was born in Tacoma, Washington, and moved to Tuscaloosa, Alabama with his family when he was 12 years old. Prior to graduating from Tuscaloosa County High School, he joined the Alabama National Guard in 1984, proudly serving until he retired with 24 years of service. And whereas he graduated from the police academy in 1989, within 10 years, he had worked his way up to the detective division investigating homicides. He later became a member of the International Homicide Investigators Association. In 1999, Montgomery County Sheriff Steve Marshall appointed him as chief deputy, and he served in that capacity for 15 years. And whereas in 2015, he was sworn in as Montgomery County's first African-American sheriff. In this capacity, Sheriff Cunningham heads an agency of more than 400 employees and a $50.1 million budget that spans a 643 square mile jurisdiction. For several decades, he has been among the most visible supporters of community-based policing, youth mentoring programs, and utilizing smartphone and other technology to better serve the community and reduce crime. And whereas Sheriff Cunningham earned a Bachelor of Science from Troy University and a Master of Science from the University of Phoenix, he has attended numerous schools and seminars since the start of his law enforcement career. He is a 2007 graduate of the FBI National Academy Class 231. He serves as the point of contact for Homeland Security for Montgomery County, overseeing funding for the county. And whereas in September 2015, Sheriff Cunningham graduated from the 108th National Sheriff's Institute in Aurora, Colorado. And 2 years later, he was sworn in as Sergeant of Arms with the Alabama Sheriff's Association. In 2019, Sheriff Cunningham was sworn in as Vice President of the Alabama Sheriff's Association. In January 2020, he was sworn in as President, and he served 2 consecutive terms until 2022. And whereas Sheriff Cunningham has been appointed to several statewide committees by the governor and remains involved in the Montgomery community by serving on several nonprofit agencies, some of which include the Kiwanis Club, YMCA, Tri-County Alzheimer's Association, and the Victims of Crime and Leniency. And he is also a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the legislature of Alabama, both houses thereof concurring, that Sheriff Derek Cunningham is highly honored and commended on being named the 2026 Ferris E. Lucas Sheriff of the Year by the National Sheriff's Association. And we convey deepest admiration and pride for all he has done to protect and honor the state of Alabama and all of its residents.
I'm not a person that does a lot of talking, but thank you all. This means a lot, and I wouldn't be able to do anything if it weren't for these two. I mean, You see the head all the time, but you don't see the body. And that body is what really carries me, and it helps our citizens in this great city and this great county. And I mean, thank you all for recognizing, and I really do appreciate Montgomery. Montgomery really recognized us and put us where we're at today. And thank y'all.
Sheriff Cunningham, before you leave out, let me publicly thank you. Sheriff Cunningham was in every meeting we had last year when we did the crime package of bills and was instrumental in what we got passed. So thank you for helping us do that, and congratulations, it's well deserved. We have some guests I'd like to recognize in the gallery. The Blount County Chamber of Commerce leadership. Their guests of Representative Standridge and Albright. Let's give them a big hand. Thank you for being with us today. Also, we have with us today the Republican ladies, Barbara Wheeler, the Baldwin guest of the Baldwin County delegation. Thank you guys for being with us. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Lee, Chairman Lovern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request that leaves of absence be granted for absent members.
Any objections? Hearing no objections, absent members are excused. The chair further recognizes the gentleman from Lee, Chairman Lovern.
Mr. Speaker, I have a report.
House of Representatives, your Standing Committee on Rules begs leave to report that it has carefully examined the Journal of the House for the 16th legislative day and finds the same to be correct. Signed, Representative Joe Lovern, Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the reading of the journal at length for the 16th legislative day be dispensed with.
Any objections? Hearing no objections, read the journal is dispensed with. The chair recognizes the birthday boy from Mobile, Speaker Pro Tem Pringle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm just an old man today. Ladies and gentlemen, today is Alabama Head Start Advocacy Day from 9 to 12 p.m. in room 200. But this is what y'all need to hear. Y'all listen to this. This weekend, Friday and Saturday, the YMCA Youth Legislature will be in this room. Take all your personal possessions off your desk. Remove heaters, fans, blankets, anything. The kids will be here all weekend, so you need to get your personal stuff out of here. Thank you.
Mr. Pro Tem, you're further recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adjourn today. We leave the journal open and allow the clerk to complete his paperwork, and we reconvene on Tuesday, March the 3rd at 1 p.m. Tuesday.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion prevails. Clerk now receives reports from standing committees. Receive those reports throughout the day. The House is now in position to introduce bills and resolutions.
House Joint Resolution Number 148 by Representative Bedsole, mourning the death and celebrating the life and legacy of George Hardy Fleming, Sr. House Joint Resolution Number 154 by Representative Mooney, celebrating the life and legacy of George W. Barber, Jr. House Joint Resolution Number 156 by Representative Hall, mourning the death and celebrating the musical legacy of David Thomas Gallagher. House Joint Resolution Number 172 by Representative Drummond, celebrating the life and legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson. House Joint Resolution Number 180 by Representative Brown, celebrating the founding of Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity on the University of Alabama campus. Senate Joint Resolution Number 51 by Senator Livingston, celebrating the life and mourning the death of Junior Harlid Sorrells.
I move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? They are adopted.
House Resolution Number 181 by Representative Daniels, designating the month of March as Chronic Kidney Disease Awareness Month.
I move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
House Resolution Number 153 by Representative McClammy, declaring February 24th, 2026 as Alabama Links Day at the Capitol.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
House Joint Resolution Number 149 by Representative Jackson, naming the portion of United States Highway 84 for Interstate 65 to mile marker 94.958 in Conecuh County, the Larry Ryland Highway.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
House Joint Resolution Number 150 by Representative Jackson, recognizing March 3rd, 2026 as Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated Day at the Alabama State Capitol and commending Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated on the occasion of its 115th anniversary.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
House Joint Resolution Number 151 by Representative Ingram, commending 2025 Women of Impact honoree Pam Swainer.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
House Joint Resolution Number 152 by Representative Stubbs, commending Thomas A. Harris for his outstanding contributions to business, conservation, and public service in the state of Alabama.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
House Joint Resolution Number 158 by Representative Carnes, honoring the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence and recommitting to the founding ideals of virtue and education, and commending former United States Secretary of Education William J. Bennett for his contributions to advance these ideals.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
House Joint Resolution Number 163 by Representative Carnes, honoring Dr. Brad Russell for his accomplishments in the field of chiropractic medicine.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
House Joint Resolution Number 162 by Representative Oliver, encouraging the Alabama Medicaid Agency to evaluate the overall cost of GLP-1 medications and report its findings.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
House Joint Resolution Number 176 by Representative Klaus, commending the inaugural Ozark Collard Green Festival.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
House Joint Resolution Number 179 by Representative Brown, urging the Congress of the United States to authorize a reliability report on Marine Highway 65 and the Water Resources Development Act of 2026.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
House Joint Resolution Number 182 by Representative Ingram, recognizing Montgomery County Sheriff Derek Cunningham for being named the 2026 Sheriff of the Year.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
Senate Joint Resolution Number 53 by Senator Smitherman, commending Alicia Cannon on 50 years of service to the state of Alabama and the Alabama judicial system.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
Senate Joint Resolution Number 54 by Senator Woods, urging the Congress of the United States to authorize a reliability report on Marine Highway 65 and the Water Resources Development Act of 2026.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
Senate Joint Resolution Number 55 by Senator Wagner, commending the state of Alabama on a record-breaking year for economic development.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
Senate Joint Resolution Number 56 by Senator Allen, recognizing the 150th anniversary of the first telephone call and the founding of AT&T.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
Senate Joint Resolution Number 57 by Senator Carnley, recognizing the Dale County school system for breaking the state record with their report card score.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
Senate Joint Resolution Number 58 by Senator Gudger, extending the Alabama Rural Road Map Initiative.
Move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted. Mr. Clerk, let's go to the uncontested local bills.
On page 78 of the calendar, House Bill Number 490 by Representative Oliver, relating to Tallapoosa County.
Question for the body is the adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes. 58 ayes, 0 nays, BR is adopted. Question now is final passage, 490. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 12 ayes, 0 nays. HB 490 has passed. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 78 of the calendar, House Bill Number 491 by Representative Oliver, relating to Tallapoosa County.
Question for the body is the adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine and record the vote. 51 ayes, 0 nays. The BIR has been adopted. Question now is final passage of 491. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 14 ayes, 0 nays. HB 491 has passed. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 78 of the calendar, House Bill Number 493 by Representative Holsey, relating to Shelby County.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes. 56 ayes, 0 nays. The BR has been adopted. Question now is final passage, 493. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 18 ayes, 0 nays. HB 493 has passed. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 79 of the calendar, House Bill Number 504 by Representative Lawrence, relating to Wilcox County.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 54 ayes, 0 nays. BR has been adopted. Question now is final passage of 504. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes. 13 ayes, 0 nays. HB 504 has passed. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 78 of the calendar, Senate Bill Number 301 by Senator Stewart, relating to Perry County.
The question for the body is the adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 55 ayes, 0 nays. BR has been adopted. Question now is final passage of SB 301. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 59 ayes, 0 nays. SB 301 has passed. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Lee, Chairman Lovern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a resolution.
Clerk, see the resolution.
House Resolution Number 184 from the House Rules Committee, the Special Order Calendar.
All right. All in favor, say aye real loud. Aye. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Member.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk and Mr. Chairman. Clerk, call first bill on special order calendar.
On page 31 of the calendar, House Bill number 98 by Representative Treadaway relating to college tuition.
Representative Treadway, before you get down here, I've got Representative Lawrence has got a moment of personal privilege. Let's give him the mic first, please. While he's making his way down here, I got some people in the audience I'd like to recognize are in the gallery. The Alabama Home Educated Day is designated by Governor Ivey, and their guest of Representative Nelson. Let's give them a big hand. Thank you for being with us. Also, we have the Alabama Iron and Steel Council of Manufacturing Alabama as guest of the full house. Let's give them a big hand. Thank you for being with us. Representative Lawrence, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to request suspension of the rules for the Montgomery County delegation to meet right now in room 418.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's granted. Representative Treadway, you're recognized.
Thank you, Speaker. Members, if you'll remember, this is the college tuition bill we passed out of here unanimously last year, got up to the Senate and was the last bill and did not get voted on. But this is part of the public safety package of the governor and the speaker from last year, and it's the tuition for law enforcement spouses and family members. With that, Mr. Speaker, I ask for the VIR.
You recognize the gentleman from Blunt, Representative Standridge.
Did not.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to rise in support of this bill. I spent 21 years, as you know, in law enforcement. I know what struggles law enforcement officers have to do, especially on salaries that most make. And I know most of us had to work multiple jobs to do that career.
Right.
And this is important. It's important for those families in law enforcement. And thank you for bringing it, and I support it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You recognize the lady from Jefferson, Representative Van.
Good morning, Treadaway. The bill got out the House, or was it just bottlenecked up in the Senate? Why it didn't get out the Senate?
Yeah,
Just wanna know.
it was the last bill up and just ran out of time.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I think I remember having that conversation with you, and so this would just be to pay or reimburse associated expenses on behalf of their children.
Children and spouse.
So is there a cap on the?
3,000.
What about the number of children? So if you are an officer and have 10 kids or 5 kids, could each one of those children seek the reimbursement?
Yes, they would be eligible.
Okay. Okay. I just couldn't remember last year. Somebody had called me on it, and I don't know why I thought it passed.
Yeah. Well, actually, the money has actually been moved over. So the money's sitting there. We just need to get this bill passed so we can start.
And how much is it?
I believe there's around $8 million that's already sitting there in higher ed. The rules have already been promulgated. So the rules are there. Everything's in place. We just got to get this bill passed.
Okay. I just wanted to make, like I said, I had received a call or two, and then I thought you had told me that that bill was up or about to something. I can't remember, last year. Okay. I appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes. 95 ayes, 0 nays. The BIR has been adopted.
Mr. Speaker, if there's no other questions, I move for final passage.
You recognize the lady from Jefferson, Representative Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative, I just want to know, do we have the same situation in place for firemen and teachers and other public servants?
This piece of legislation is directly to law enforcement.
I
because
don't understand, but I'm asking you because I
this
know.
does not, yeah, this does not.
I know you do all of your research when you come up with something because, you know, our firemen, they have just as much danger before them and and probably need the assistance too with their children. I just want to know that, you know, when we do things, we do them equally for public servants. So do our firemen have the same type of scholarship? Because I know you've done your research. And do our teachers have the same type of scholarship to help their children?
You know, so there's a number of scholarships out there. This particular
No, I'm asking
legislation.
you.
Well,
I know what it's about because you know what?
Trying to
I went to one of them good Birmingham schools and can read very well. But I'm just asking because I know you do your research. There are a number of scholarships out there, but I'm asking, and since we're doing this for law enforcement, which I love my law enforcement, especially in the North Precinct, you know, because they're extremely competent and they look after our community extremely well. Even when we don't know, they're out making sure, you know, that in areas where we have a lot of senior citizens, that they take their time and patrol it to make sure we are safe and sound. I just wanted to know if we have that type of situation because, you know, a lot of times we'll talk about law enforcement, but we always couple it on many occasions with our firemen at the same time. So you haven't seen that anywhere? Not talking? I got to get Ms. Treddy up here so you can answer. You want me to?
So we're trying to address a retention recruitment issue with law enforcement.
I understand.
We're critically short in the state of Alabama. Just in
about-
Jefferson County alone, where you live, those fine officers you're
You
talking
don't live
about.
in Jefferson County?
You know, I do. But those
don't?
fine officers you're talking about,
Yeah.
this is going to give them a benefit
But
to
I'm
stay there
asking-
and continue to do the job they're
But
doing.
I'm asking about the firemen and other public servants also. I mean, if you haven't found it, then maybe there's a situation where we need to do the research and sort of help them too, because with our firemen, you don't have an overabundance people volunteering there, and they do their very best also.
Love my firemen.
Yeah, me too, you know. So I was just wondering,
Yeah.
just one black woman's question. You know, when I saw it, I just wanted to know if we had that same situation for other public servants also, because they're struggling, and it's hard for them to be able to provide for their families also. When you're working for a municipality, usually the funding is very, very short, but you're required to do an awful lot to protect the citizens of that municipality. Just wondering about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question for the body is passage of HB 98. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Recorded votes 99 ayes, 0 nays. HB 98 has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 58 of the calendar, House Bill number 454 by Representative Lovern relating to search warrants.
Chairman Lovin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, what this bill would provide in the matters of a DNA sample for a search warrant, it takes a little bit more to do that sample, and it would take that from 10 days requirement out to 60 days. And with that, I'd ask for the BIR.
Chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson, Representative Van.
Someone was trying to, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Someone was giving me something. Tell me what your bill does. I heard about the search warrants and the DNA.
Yes, ma'am. It's just a two-page bill. All it does is, when it reference to a DNA sample, the 10 days is not enough time for some of the sampling, and it allows that to be 60 days. And this is something we worked with the LEA, the DAs, to give a respectable timeline, which is reasonable, but also allows for that testing.
But I thought they did that anyway. And especially in certain circumstances. That's what sparked my interest. So you're saying the 10 days to preserve, it's not 10 days for the preservation.
Right.
It's 10 days for the warrant.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
and the expiration thereof.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I'm trying to get the clarity on.
It would extend the authorized period of time to execute and return a search warrant for the collection of the DNA sample.
Okay.
It just affects the DNA portion.
It affects the DNA, so it extends that time period.
From 10 to 60 days, yes, ma'am.
Okay. How did we cap it at the 60 days? And the reason I'm asking is that in so many cases these days, and I know cases get cold, I think we all are aware of that. But in many instances, you have situations now in which DNA has been, like many other things across the country, the level of improvements, technology is much greater than it was, and all of that. And so I guess to get to the 60-day without someone having to come back to re-up on a warrant again, I really wish we would have done it for at least 90 days.
Well, I reached out to the experts in this field, and this is the date that they felt like was appropriate from the different agencies, and all their lawyers looked at it, and their investigators looked at it, and they felt like 60 days was a reasonable amount of time to be able to get that, to go from that 10 days to 60.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I just really wanted to get the clarity with regards, especially with the date, the number of days changing. So I wanted to get the clarity on it. Okay. All right. And you brought this bill on behalf of who?
And a long-time investigator in my district that I worked with for many years brought it to me, and then the DAs looked at it, and then Aaliyah looked at it and found that this was being a problem across several avenues, and this was a good solution to help with this process.
I would like, just thinking about this, and I watch a lot of investigative TV, Discovery, Investigative Discovery, Dateline, 48 Hours. If I'm not doing that, I'm watching the news. So I guess I'm a really boring person, but there's nothing on TV anymore. But in doing so, I guess I would like to just have a bigger conversation at some point about the collection and the DNA processes here. You know, I know they catalog everything, and as I mentioned, cold cases and things of that nature. Even how they execute the warrant, you know, for the DNA, all of that. I just think I would like to hear more about that. If we could get something, maybe just something in writing or something, just to know what those steps and processes are. So, yeah, okay. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
The question is on adoption of BIR. Those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Have all the members voted? The clerk will lock the machine and record the vote. 100 yeas, 1 abstention. The BIR passes. Questions now on passage of the bill.
Move for final passage.
Those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? The clerk will lock the machine and record the vote. 100 yeas, 1 abstention. The bill passes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members.
Clerk will call the next bill.
On page 73 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 230 with substitute by Senator Gavan relating to campaign contributions.
Chair recognizes Pro Tem Pringle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this bill is an outgrowth of the assassination of 2 members of a legislative body in Minnesota. That's where this bill originated from, as a way for us to have a security system or security cameras at our house in order to help protect ourselves. And the substitute bill says that nothing in this section shall be construed to require the state, a county, or a municipality to provide security solely based on this section. So this is There's no financial obligation for anybody but your campaign if you choose to have a security system installed in your house. With that, Mr. Speaker, I move adoption of the BIR.
The chair recognizes Representative from Jefferson, Representative Gavan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pringle, this bill is just to allow for that to be an allowable or acceptable expense, right? With regards to ethics.
Correct.
So this covers security systems, or I'm just trying to make sure it covers if you go somewhere and you need security or something like that. Humans as well as instrumentality such as security alarms. I just want you to elaborate on that portion.
Section 3 says reasonable cost of security personnel for a candidate, elected official, or immediate family or staff member of the candidate or elected official.
Okay, I think this is a good bill. The only thing I wish that you all would have done, and I should have had a conversation with Albritton at one time and others, the level of harassment. And I know there's a senator who has a bill dealing with harassment, and I think it goes a little bit deeper. I don't know the senator's name that's upstairs, that deals with enhanced punishments and adding a clearer definition to the code of those who harassing communications that go beyond the doxing. And so I just wish that at some point I don't know if that bill's gonna make it down. I heard it start on the news the other day. I think this is a good bill. I think there's other things that need to be done because, but I also want a bill for those who pay other people to harass us, to go above and beyond, to intentionally harass or intentionally mock as it relates to it gets beyond a level of stalking where it's excessive. And I do know there are several people, several Republicans who have had folks that were done that way over the course of the past, I guess, electoral cycle is what I was told. But I think this is a good bill. I support it wholeheartedly, and hopefully I know everybody else in here will.
Thank you, Representative.
Why? I mean, when you have a good bill, you have a good bill.
Thank you. I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Absolutely. When you have a good, if it's a good bill, it's a good bill. If it's not, it's not. You have only had maybe since I've been here maybe one or two bad bills, but I don't even know if I don't even know if I was here today that you had one and the red leaderboard went up so red. I don't know if it had ever been. That's been a couple of years ago. But I think it's a very good bill. I don't have a problem with that. I think we have a lot of good bills since, you were laughing that come out of the House, but there are some that, of course, require or should require work, but that's why we live in a place of democracy. So, yeah, but it's good. I mean, you don't have to look like that because I said something was good. It is good. If it's good, it's good. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you to tell you how good this bill is. Thank you. And then also, because I ain't never scared. And I'm like T.I., I let them know.
I'd like to recognize in the gallery Meredith Martino, who's with Women in Government, the executive director. She's the guest of Representative Laura Hall and other women members of our legislature. Thank you. Welcome. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Hale, Representative Travis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yell?
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to come and stand that bill came through our committee and just want to thank you and the sponsor for bringing that bill. It's a very proactive bill and just given the environment that we operate in nowadays to give us opportunity to be able to provide for that security for ourselves and our families, and also making sure that that we can utilize it out of appropriate funds without it being penalized. So thank you for being forward-looking on this bill and taking and bringing it to this point. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd hate for something to happen to any one of us or our families.
The question is on adoption of the BIR. Those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine and record the vote. There are 103 yeas and 1 abstention. The BIR passes. Pro Tem Pringle?
I explained the substitute, so with that, Mr. Speaker, I move adoption of the sub.
The question is on passage of the bill as substituted. We need to adopt the sub, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Adopt the sub.
Motion to adopt the sub. Those in favor will vote aye. Those against will vote no. Clerk will unlock the machine, record the vote.
Vote the Speaker.
Thank you. Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote and lock the machines. There are 103 yeas, 1 abstention. The sub is adopted. Representative Pringle.
Mr. Speaker, I move final passage of SB 230 as substituted.
Question is on final passage of the bill. Those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. Clerk, unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, 2 abstentions. The bill passes. Clerk, call the next bill.
On page 70 of the calendar, House Bill number 487 by Representative Reynolds relating to appropriations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this is the 2026 opioid supplemental appropriation. Typically, we would move this with the budget package, but since the budget is upstairs, we want to move it through this body and then send it upstairs to travel with the budget. It's a total appropriation of $43,138,650, and that's from the opioid abatement settlement. With that, I ask for the BIR, Mr. Chair.
The question is adoption of the BIR. Those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk will unlock the machine. Members will vote. Have all the members voted? The clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, 1 abstention. BIR passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, as we always do, we will allocate $26,360,000 to the Alabama Department of Mental Health for the grants for the providers within your districts, and that's related to the prevention, the treatment, and the recovery of those addicted to opioids. And then we've got a lot of education partners and a couple of new partners, and that being the district attorneys and our sheriffs in every county, and they'll now do education within each county throughout Alabama. So with that, I'll answer any questions. Call for vote. Okay.
Chair recognizes Representative Gavan of Jefferson.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So the distributors or those who will serve as, I will just call them the grantors, will they only be the district attorneys or the law enforcement in that county? Will the Department of Health or any other entity be able to distribute?
Absolutely. I was just highlighting.
Okay,
they're new this year, and you've kind of joined it, but you still got treatment providers in every city throughout the state.
So will there be, and I guess my question, since you said that, I was somewhat alarmed. I'm like, well, I thought it was for, so is it going to be particular service providers? Have they already been identified, or will we identify more as a result of this?
Yeah, so we're seeing primarily return providers each time. That we do have some new ones that come in each year. It's open to everyone to apply, but obviously they have to be a certified treatment provider in Alabama.
And so this is through a competitive grant process or competitive process?
It is.
Is it open bid or more of a request for a proposal versus request for quote?
It's a grant.
So it's a grant, just a grant. Okay, and do you know how many grants will be given?
You know, I think last year total grants given were 19 or 20. within that pocket of money. But remember, we also have some direct appropriations. The rules provide our commission that you either have to already receive funding from either the general fund or the ETF, and we can appropriate.
So why are we sending it up now in a separate piece of legislation versus with the budget itself?
Because, well, as you know, the provisions for the general fund, we can't give money direct to a nonprofit. It has to go through a state agency. So this way, we're running them all through the Department of Mental Health.
Okay, I appreciate
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
Thank you. I just wanted to get the clarity.
And Mr. Chair, I wanted to mention too, we've taunted the measured outcomes ever since the commission was developed in 2023. Recently, the committee was briefed on some of those findings. We've seen over 32% decrease in overdoses in Alabama, over 40% decrease in prescriptions written, and over 250,000 naloxone kits out there, which obviously contributing to less overdoses. And we've had several cases where we've saved lives. Over 1 million hits on our website and through our marketing campaign. And it's really proud of the work they're doing. And certainly, once we call for a vote, I'd like to recognize my committee as well, Mr. Chair.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 487. The clerk will lock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, no nays. HB 487 passes. Clerk, call the next bill in the special order calendar.
Mr. Chair, can I have a moment of personal privilege?
Sure, Chair Rick.
Yes, sir. I just want to recognize the committee. They do a lot of work in the off season, if you can call it that. A lot of travel back and forth to Montgomery, working with our agencies, and a lot of material to go through. And certainly also, but let me recognize those Representatives Philip Rigsby, Parker Moore, Francis Hope Jones, and Neil Rafferty. And certainly thank Ms. Diane Harper. She manages all this information that we send through. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Let me recognize some special guests in the gallery. We have Alicia S. Scott Lumpkin, guest of Curtis Travis and Anthony Daniels. Would you please stand to be recognized? Welcome. Welcome to the Alabama House of Representatives. And also joining us in the gallery from the great and sovereign state of Mobile County, the Alabama Iron and Steel Council, Phil Godwin, Jennifer Wright, Kristen Mosley, Grace Kim, Carmen Pino, and Janelle Finley Adams. Welcome to the Alabama House. Please stand to be recognized. Welcome. Clerk, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
On page 27 of the calendar, House Bill number 163, with substitute by Representative Stubbs, relating to the Property Insurance and Energy Reduction Act.
Chair recognizes Representative Stubbs of Elmore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, body. House Bill 163 is a permissive bill that allows for city and county governments to participate in a national program that encourages economic development in their communities. And if there are no questions, with that, I ask for the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 101 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we did have a substitute in the County Municipal Government Committee, and I'll be happy to share some information about the substitute. We worked closely with the League of Municipalities and the Alabama County Commission Association to identify and ensure that this bill would be advantageous to the cities and counties to participate in, but also something that provided them the necessary protections to ensure that they were not exposed in any way to any legal concerns. And with that, if there are no questions on the substitute, I ask for the...
Question for the body's adoption of the substitute. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, no nays. The substitute's been adopted.
If there are no further questions, ask for final passage.
Clerk, question for the body's final passage of HB 163 is substituted. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Has everybody voted? Does Joe not want to vote?
Danny?
Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 99 yeas, no nays. The HB 163 passes. Clerk, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
On page 19 of the calendar, House Bill number 266 by Representative Sells relating to crimes and offenses.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members. Chris is at a funeral, so I'm carrying this bill for him. All this does is up the punishment for the crime of reckless endangerment if it involves multiple people that's lives were being recklessly endangered, and if you use a deadly weapon, further enhances the crime. So the punishment. So that's all this bill does. It's pretty simple, one-pager. And with that, I'd move for the BIR.
First, the chair recognizes Representative McCampbell of Marengo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the recognition. Gentleman yield.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what are the enhancements on it? What are we moving it from, and
Sure.
what are we moving it to?
Sure. So right now, the way reckless endangerment is defined is if you recklessly endanger a single individual, and that is a Class A misdemeanor.
Okay.
But if it involves substantial risk of serious physical injury to multiple people, we're taking that to a Class C felony.
Okay.
And if it involves a risk of multiple people, but you used a deadly weapon or dangerous instrument, it's a Class B felony.
Okay, now, reckless endangerment can also be reckless driving. You understand me?
Well, I do.
That because reckless driving can be a Class A misdemeanor, okay?
Yes.
So now, how are we going to separate that? Because if you're recklessly driving and you've got 3 people in the car, now are we going to raise that to a felony?
No, I think this is if you get in the car, I guess you could argue.
Yes, you can.
Put their lives at
you can.
Their lives at risk.
And I'm just afraid that some young guy is going to be out here with some of his friends, and sure enough, their lives are put in danger, and somebody is going to decide that they are going to make this a Class C felony, him trying to elude and all of these kind of things. So I got problems,
It's really interesting. The way I certainly see this, we have these things in the law once you get in somebody's car and you've kind of knowingly gotten in a car, then you get precluded from making those type of arguments. But unless the person it was an intentional type of conduct. But the way I envisioned this was, the car causing danger to people outside the car.
Okay.
And so, but you raise an interesting question about the people in a car, making that claim.
you know, all I'm thinking about has our incarceration lawsuit that federal lawsuit, has it been settled yet? Do we have enough prison beds and to handle what we, are incarcerating? Because right now in this session, we are raising more things that should remain as, misdemeanors up to a status of felonies. And, maybe I need to join the lawsuit against the state of Alabama, because that's not the way we need to be doing it. We are overcrowding our prison systems, and we are taking away people's rights to vote. All of these things are, and we aren't thinking about, well, these people that could just be riding, their lives are endangered also. So are we going to charge this guy with that?
Well,
it's
but,
a lot of things.
I think if your
about.
children are in that vehicle, or it's your family members that somebody's recklessly endangered,
Yeah.
and they could have killed them.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a high burden. You've got substantial risk of injury that had to be there, has to be present.
Yeah, but I also look at it, if it's your son driving the car.
And he was recklessly endangering
And he's
other people's lives,
endangering
then
somebody else.
and he would need to face the punishment.
Of course.
Yeah.
But you and I both know that the law is not equally applied. Okay? That's unfortunately, this blind justice, one eye is uncovered and the other one is covered. So as and you're an attorney, so let's not stand here and you and I don't have to pretend with each other that law is blind, that Lady Justice's eyes both are covered. Let's both of us understand that Lady Justice's eyes, both of them are not covered. And we look one way out of one eye, and the other one we don't get a chance to see. But I appreciate it, and it's just something to think about. That's all.
Thank you, sir.
Chair recognizes Representative Gavan of Jefferson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Faulkner, I tend to agree to a great extent with the previous speaker. I think for me is when someone says that this is a simple bill, as I intimated the other night, there are no simple bills in this House. Every piece of legislation that we sponsor as members here has a cause and an effect. Some legislation can be more overreaching, overbearing, and as well so be unintentional in the ultimate consequences. Doesn't matter who the author or sponsor of the legislation is. My concern with some of the bills is no differently than with this one, and I understand where you're trying to go, and I understand that there was a scenario that happened in someone's neighborhood and one person, and we bring so many bills based upon one person without knowing the circumstance, without knowing all of the situation, and we react and we bring a piece of legislation. When there are nearly 6 million people in the state, and the argument can always be made, well, we're trying to be preventative. Well, there are a lot of pieces of legislation that we can bring as lawmakers to be preventative, but we already have, in many instances, legislation on the books dealing with reckless, dangerous behavior, whether it be driving or not. And so my concern is that sometimes there are so many overreaches that we're expanding the law so far, but all we need in many of these instances is for the judges, whether it be on the municipal level, whether it be on the district level or the circuit level, to do their jobs. No differently in many instances with the domestic violence cases. Well, we see this all the time, in which we have those who commit domestic violence. One, they're released. Well, two, they're released. But this legislative body some years ago passed legislation to add for an enhanced penalty to create a habitual offenders section within that code section, that if you get to a level of multiplicity, you get 30 days in jail. But I've asked the question to many of the municipal judges or district judges, how many of those did they set and how many of those were penalized? No differently with this. Sometimes I think if the judges would do better, and we have some great jurists. This is not a criticism of our jurists. We have great jurists throughout this entire state. But I think this is an overreach. This bill will provide for the offenses of reckless endangerment by providing heightened criminal penalties for recklessly engaging in the conduct that creates a substantial risk or serious personal injury to multiple individuals. If it's reckless and those individuals are in the room or in the car or whatever, you can be charged already. So tell me what your bill does that the law does not already allow for.
So, and I did want to point out, Representative McCampbell came up, and there is a separate crime for reckless driving. So what he was talking about is reckless driving is a lesser standard.
I know that.
I was making sure I.
Well, this is my time. So
yes, absolutely.
Let me reclaim my time at the mic.
Absolutely.
If he wants to come back, he can get.
I hear good. All right.
I'm not here to argue.
So to answer your question, it's just when you have endangered, you've endangered the lives of multiple people, not just one, but you've endangered the lives of multiple people. We're stepping up it from the Class A misdemeanor up to the felony.
But the judge can already can step up the counts. It could be 10 counts of reckless endangerment now. I'm not sure. And again, this is something that the court can already do, or the district attorney during the screening process.
Well, Danny Carr, who's our DA, wants this bill.
I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
and you know, I love Danny Carr. I'm on the phone with Danny Carr mama at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Gina Faye, we're just that close.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get that, but even with that, I don't think he's going to argue against the bill. But I still think that they can already do this.
Well, the DAs want this.
And Danny Carr wants a raise also, and needs more money in the budget from Jefferson County so he can hire more investigators. But I don't see y'all bringing that legislation to make sure that they are able to get that. So listen.
I'm in support of that.
Yeah, I know you are, but name dropping doesn't work with me. Listen, everybody wants to be a mini celebrity, but unfortunately, there are many celebrities in their own mind. Their own mind.
I only said that, brought that up was because that the DAs want.
Yeah,
this.
I get it, and I love. Don't. I'm not saying that Danny. Danny is my brother, and I've always said Danny my brother. But if it's time for if it's something I do wrong, his people gonna put me in jail or in prison. Well, I don't know. People, you put yourself in prison, but I'm just saying. I still think this is an overreach. But I do wish that we would get to a point here, not just in this state, but all states, where if folks would do their jobs regardless, because at the end of the day, the counts will start at the time that police are involved. They identified 1 person, 2 person, 3 person. It's just no differently than murder. If you kill me and I'm in the room and you shoot and kill 4 or 5 people, you're going to be charged with each count of murder for those individuals. You're not going to just be charged with the murder of me, 1 person. So that's the only thing I'm saying. I'm not necessarily against it. I just think that I've been seeing this pattern with some of these bills, especially this year, where there are already enough laws on the books that.
Well, the only thing, Representative Van, to that is, I think you're right. They could charge each one separately under the crime of reckless endangerment, but the penalty is only a Class A misdemeanor. And if you have endangered the lives of multiple people, why shouldn't it be a greater?
So you're raising this up to a class what?
Class B felony.
It's a Class B felony.
C felony first.
Okay.
So that's the difference, I think, in here. And then also, if you use a dangerous instrument, then that's where it steps it up again. So that's, to me, the difference of bringing multiple charges for reckless endangerment, where you can only get a Class A misdemeanor.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I just wish that we would, again, put, you know, I don't know if you all meet Ginger and the trial. Listen, and the president of trial, man, I tell you the truth, they've had some good presidents. But this president right here reads every bill. And I mean, not only what I love about this guy is that he not only reads the bill, and I'm glad we were getting on the fact that you mentioned all other folks. But listen, the reason I really am impressed with him is that we go through every year the presidents that come in for trial, you know, the trial president, and you see them, you meet and greet. But this guy literally dissects and reads every piece of legislation that comes before us. So I do have an appreciation, and I'm hoping that we'll keep someone like that the next time when you all continue to bring these immunity bills, but I have not seen that many immunity bills. But I just wanted to put that in, it came to my mind because this guy is like a bookworm. I mean, he's a super guy. I mean, like, you know, it takes a lot to impress me. But I've been very, very, very impressed with him. The way he takes the time on every bill, whether they're the simple one-page bills or the 20-page bills or what have you. I don't know if they had input into this bill, but usually if someone says to me that trial has read something or didn't have a problem, or the DA's association, then that makes a difference. But with that being said, I just would like, with trial, and that's what I wanted to get out, I would like for us to really start sitting back down and really vetting these bills, looking at those things that should be expanded versus not. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Hassel of Montgomery.
Oh, I just got a couple of questions on this bill.
Yes, sir.
What's the definition of reckless?
So under this crime, now there's reckless, you've got the word reckless in different crimes. So you've got reckless driving, but generally the way that is when you have a disregard, and in this act particularly, conduct that creates a substantial risk of serious physical injury to another individual.
Okay, but so I guess the issue I'm concerned with is it's a broad definition of reckless because of the fact that you got that's negligent, you got that's reckless and intentional reckless, right? What I'm saying is this: if you got a scenario,
the difference between intentional,
that's right,
but reckless, and that's throughout the law, and this is an existing law that's in the books.
That's right. So I guess I'm concerned if we got a group of people together and let's just say we go shooting and I'm not intentionally, I accidentally shoot somebody. That's not my intent, right? But it can be viewed as being reckless if I didn't take a precautionary measure and accidentally because I didn't have a vest or that person didn't have a vest on, or I was just shooting recklessly, just shooting because I thought I saw something.
Well, if you actually shot somebody, it wouldn't be this.
But I caused bodily harm to that person, right?
Yeah,
but I caused an injury.
That takes it out of this. This is you commit the crime of reckless endangerment if you engage in conduct that creates a substantial risk Once you've created the harm,
That's right. What I'm saying, if I go in a scenario, 5 of my guys, we just want to go shoot our guns out in the country somewhere.
right?
And we set up a target or, some type of situation where we shoot our rifles. And I turn around and just accidentally, my intent was not to harm him, but I actually shoot his leg and I cause harm to that person. But yet we go to the hospital.
Yeah.
They ask what happened. Now, it was not my intention.
Sure.
I should have known better to be more cautious with my particular weapon.
Right.
I guess I'm concerned with this bill because I caused bodily harm.
Yeah, that
I
would
put
be
him
a
at
different-
risk because I didn't do the proper precautions with my particular weapon.
Right.
So I put him at risk, caused harm, because I just think this is so broad that even a DA can look at this situation when the police officer asks for an investigation. Well, how did you get shot?
Here's what I would say. The crime is already in our law right now.
Yes.
That if you recklessly cause the risk, not shot, you cause the risk.
That's right.
Of endangering another individual. Once you shoot him, we're at a different level.
Well, the risk is saying, okay, y'all bring your weapons, you bring your guns to my property.
Right.
I'm gonna set up my own little gun range, and we're gonna just shoot our rifles. That is a risk. It can be considered a risk.
Yeah. So when you endanger, that's definitely risk.
That's right.
But reckless endangerment on our books right now is when you cause to another individual, it's a Class A misdemeanor. When you cause the risk of a substantial risk of serious physical injury to another person, that is the law now, and it's a Class A misdemeanor. What this is saying, if you cause that risk, not shoot people, if you caused a risk, could be by shooting, but you didn't actually hit them.
Okay.
And you do that recklessly over a multiple group of people. So you turn around to a group and start firing a gun over their head, acting crazy. Then what this bill is doing is saying, because you did that to a whole group of people, like if I came to a crowd and instead of just your buddy, it was just me and you, and I shot over your head, and I was acting crazy, and I turn around over you and I shoot a gun right over the top of your head, right now, that's on the books. That's a Class A misdemeanor.
Yeah.
But if there was 5 people, 10 people, and I turn around with a machine gun and I go, and I shoot over your head, that's what this bill's doing, is upping that penalty because there were so many people that could have been harmed.
Okay.
That's what this bill's doing.
And I guess the issue I'm having is if I'm at one of those bonfires.
You're what?
I'm in the country somewhere, and I see, it's 200 or 300 people at a family reunion or something. I'll just use that for an example.
That's right.
Or some type of community gathering, and this guy take out his weapon out of his trunk and just start shooting it in the air.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Now his intention is not to hurt anybody, but it is reckless.
That is reckless endangerment.
All right.
That's a perfect scenario.
Okay, so I understand what you're doing. I'm afraid of this bill. It's just that it's so broad to me, and I guess it's so broad that any incident when a gun is fired, and nobody, not even trying to be reckless in a sense, or he have his weapon and it go off, and somebody get afraid.
It wouldn't be charged if it was an accident or a mistake.
Well, I know, that's right, but an aggressive DA can take this particular legislation and go after that person on a higher offense.
Well, right now, if you do this, it'd be a Class A misdemeanor. The only thing this bill's doing is saying if you do it to multiple people, if you act reckless to multiple people, then it steps up the penalty. I mean, and I think rightfully so. I mean, if you put a ton of people at risk of substantial injury, you've got to meet that threshold.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, reckless disregard for your well-being and your safety. If I do that, I mean, I think that's a good crime that is on our books, and it's a Class A misdemeanor.
Yeah.
But if there's a whole group of people, like you said, a family reunion, and somebody goes crazy, comes out there and is acting and shoots a gun, shoots a gun right over the heads of the family reunion,
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to
I
step up
agree.
the penalty because so many more lives were at danger. We're at risk of being lost. Now, he didn't hit anybody.
No,
Yeah.
no, and my thing is just, you know.
Oh, and by the way,
Sometimes-
that's using a deadly instrument too. A gun
That's right.
is a deadly instrument.
That's right.
You can endanger people without,
Absolutely.
you know, a deadly instrument, and then the penalty's not as great.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody started a fight and then it caused a riot, and there's going to be a harsher penalty under that person too, right? If I'm in a family reunion again, and me and a guy get into it, and all of a sudden it incited a riot. But see, we got laws on that book for that too, inciting a riot. But I guess my only concern is, even with a weapon piece, is the intent of that defendant. You know, if he didn't have if he's not even trying to be, it is reckless because I mean, if he's not, I understand it's reckless, but his intent is not to be.
Yeah,
reckless.
and that's why there's different crimes. I mean,
That's right,
because
that's right.
and reckless means you have a reckless disregard for the safety of other people.
Yeah.
So, and reckless endangerment, we've been through what that is.
That's right.
But the idea of the word reckless is you don't have the intent, but you have a total reckless disregard for those lives.
Yeah.
I mean, you have for what you could do.
And we increase into what class?
Yeah, so if here on the
Class
second
C?
page, yeah, it can go to a Class C felony if it is
And what's the
multiple people, and a Class B if it's with a dangerous weapon or instrument.
And what's the time for Class C, Class B? What's the time?
Oh, sentencing?
Sentencing, yeah.
I mean, I think that's in the judge's.
On his discretion.
Yeah, well.
On the judge's discretion.
All
I mean,
this.
do you know the range?
It's going to be under.
Okay,
Representative House,
I'll find it.
I do not. If Judge Hill was here, I'd probably get him up here, but I do know it's going to be in the judge's. This is in the judge's discretion. It's in the DA's discretion.
Yeah.
Whether or not to bring the charge. I mean,
the DA's asked for this particular legislation?
Yes. I mean, this is to help them. I mean, and I think it's really, it's not my bill, but I really support this bill because if you're
I do understand it. I understand the intent of the bill.
Yeah.
I just think that it's so broad that it can cause other issues when somebody can be prosecuted under this penalty or enhanced in a sense. And I don't think I believe it can cause some problems on something that may not be as reckless as we think it is, because, you know, sometimes people do certain things that they not intent to be reckless, or they don't know in a sense because.
The gentleman's time has
got an
expired.
answer for you on those
The
sentences.
chair recognizes Representative Hollis of Jefferson, and while she's making her way down, I'd like to recognize some special guests in the gallery. We have the Bullock County Future Leaders. They're the guests of Representative Barry Fort. Would you please stand to be recognized? Bullock County. Welcome to the Alabama House of Representatives.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Explain to me, I guess I'm trying to understand what is reckless, because I'm also thinking about a mistake. So how do you determine if it's reckless?
All right. So here's the thing. We need to focus, though, on reckless endangerment, this specific crime, because reckless can be anything. You can have the charge of reckless driving. You can be reckless in other things that you do in other crimes. But this particular crime, reckless endangerment, is, so right now, under existing law, a person commits the crime of reckless endangerment if he or she recklessly engages in conduct that creates a substantial risk of serious physical injury to another individual. That is the law on the books today.
Mm-hmm.
What this bill that Chris Sells is doing is merely saying if that substantial risk is to multiple people, then we're going to up the punishment for that.
Okay, and then the punishment starts at Class A, correct?
Misdemeanor.
Okay, and then it can change.
If it's to one person.
then it could go from C to B, right?
So, right,
Okay,
first
so-
step is it go from Class A misdemeanor to a Class C felony. And that's if it involves the risk to substantial risk of physical harm to many people. And then it can go to B if that risk you used a dangerous instrument or weapon.
Okay. So someone could be out for New Year's, and if they fire their pistol, and let's say that they fired in the ground and it ricocheted up, and it hit someone.
When once it hits somebody, we've gone beyond risk.
But that was not the intention.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother crime. This is what's dealing with this crime is dealing when you put people at risk.
Intentionally,
No, recklessly.
recklessly.
Yeah. So if
But you know what you're doing, but you're being reckless by doing it.
you're being crazy, it'd be like somebody put, we were talking with Representative Hassel. It'd be like right now, under current law, if somebody's at say at a party or New Year's, you were talking New Year. We're thinking, I guess we're both thinking on the same wavelength. Somebody's getting crazy on New Year's, and they pull out a gun and shoot a gun over the top of your head. Didn't hit you. Okay, there could be some other potential things brought, but that is reckless endangerment to Rolanda Hollis's life
Okay.
because that person shot a gun over your head. But what if he
So
goes?
basically, pretty much the individual know what they're doing at that time. But I guess what I'm thinking is
They don't have an
they
intent
may
to
not
harm
be
you.
thinking, and
They're acting reckless. And they could have caused substantial harm. That's the key, though. They could have caused substantial harm or risk of life to you. And we want those. That's on the books now.
yeah.
All this bill is doing is saying, say there's 15, 20 people, as Representative Hassel said, say there's a family reunion and somebody gets a little crazy and pulls out a gun and shoots over the top of the heads of the entire family reunion.
And it hit somebody.
All right, no, didn't hit anybody.
Oh, okay.
This is risk. This is
Okay.
risk.
Okay.
Once you've created that risk to multiple people, what we're saying is that penalty should be stepped up because otherwise, Representative Hollis, it's a Class A misdemeanor.
Right.
But it's a Class A misdemeanor to just one person. But when I get a whole group of people, an entire family reunion, and I unload a weapon over their heads, now we're saying the penalty, there should be the discretion of that judge and the DA to give you a higher penalty.
Okay.
That's what all this bill does.
Okay. 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 Just trying to wrap it around.
Thank you, Representative Hollis.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will lock the machine and the members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 88 yeas, no nays. The BIR has been adopted.
With that, Mr. Speaker, I'd move for final passage if we have no further questions.
Question for the body's final passage of Bubba Shot the Jukebox bill. Clerk will lock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 84 yeas, no nays. The bill passes. Clerk, call the next bill in the
Thank you,
special
Mr.
order
Speaker.
calendar.
Thank you, members.
On page 23 of the calendar, House Bill number 295 by Representative Hall relating to the Alabama Office of Minority Affairs.
Chair recognizes Representative Hall of Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. House Bill 295, really on the existing law, we have the Office of Minority Affairs, and what this bill will do will rename the office to the Office of Civic Engagement. And if there are no questions, I ask for the BIR.
Chair recognizes Representative Moore of Jefferson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative.
Yes, ma'am.
So two questions. Why are we changing the name of the office? And secondly, would its purpose be different?
The purpose, the only thing that is changing is the name, and because the group and the activity that are taking place in that office are more civically engaged, I went back and looked at all of the activities that were taking place within the Office of Minority Affairs.
That's different.
And again, that they're dealing with small business, workforce development, the quality of life, internship for college students. All of that is a part of the Office of Minority Affairs. And to make sure that we'll stand within the same, it does not take away from the initial responsibility, the initial part of the...
Well, I would disagree with you on that, because the Office of Minority Affairs has a different connotation. And it would seem to me that that office under that name would be paying more attention to people who are disenfranchised, who are underserved in the various capacities within the community, such as scholarships, small businesses being treated fairly. Because you know, over time, even with small businesses, if they're small black businesses in the state of Alabama, we know that they haven't been given the fair chance that other businesses of other ethnic groups have been given.
And I agree that you're right. And
right. So when it was as minority affairs, I would think that we are trying to even the playing field with that office. But as civic or community engagement, I think that it loses some of the connotation, and it opens up and becomes so broad so that people who are not necessarily minorities are taking advantage of it, which takes us back into a circle where those who really need the attention from such a office won't get it, and we'll still be in the same place of running, trying to catch up and get on that even playing field, where we know in this state all people are not on an even playing field. No matter what avenue you go down is still not even.
And I appreciate your comments and the things that you said, but remember, we're talking about the name change. We're not changing any of the activities. We're not changing. And I understand what you're saying in terms of approach, how people look at things. But
well, in the state of Alabama, once you change it, my black folks and Latinos and Haitians and all these other groups that we have this body and bodies across this country have systematically eliminated from any help to get us on that level playing field. I don't see that that's happening. And historically, looking at the types of bills that we have passed this session, and to be honest, since 2010, that have just eliminated people that were not of Anglo descent.
And I'm not.
And so, and I just, sister, I understand your intentions might be good, but that's not and has not been the intention of the ruling party in this building. And I don't know how or what verbiage could be added to the bill to make sure that those people who have been underserved and completely disenfranchised when it comes to various occupations, various services from the state of Alabama, that we could make sure that they are treated fairly and equally. But I know what your intentions is. I just have to couple that with the practice of this state of Alabama. And, I just want to put one black woman's opinion on the table. And as I see it, and I tell people a lot of times, one of the I guess problems with longevity on earth is that we've lived through a lot, and every time we thought that we were making a change, we end up back not even on first base. So I just wanted to say that, and I don't know if if it would keep the same person that's managing that office now, or if once the name is changed, someone else would be put in that office, and how do we monitor it to make sure that it's providing the same service that initially went under the Office of Minority Affairs?
And I think your concerns, you raised legitimate concerns in terms of the valuing what the minority members of this state and this community can bring to the table. It's a valid comment. It is one that I think those of us as legislators, we find ourselves every day in this chamber working to make sure that happens.
Yeah.
My thought, the belief is, as we do civic engagement, that one of the things, if you think about civic engagement, having folks more civically engaged, people that look like us, that are more civically engaged.
You know, don't nobody
people that
look like
us.
me.
Yeah, no, but look like us. I'm talking about in terms of skin color.
No, they don't look like me.
Okay, well, people that look like me.
Okay,
all
they don't look like
people
me.
that look at me.
I'm a little bit taller.
That we are.
I'm overweight. So they don't look like me.
We're not talking about what you consider the negatives. I'm talking about the positive.
That's positive, a little bit taller.
No, I thought you said a little taller.
So I'm just concerned. I
understand.
understand where
I
you're
hear
coming from, but historically in this state we just never followed through, and it might take us.
But I do think, let me just stop here.
Yeah.
I do think part of the reason in many cases we don't follow through, I take voting as an example.
Yes.
That if, when you look at the voting registers today, there may be 500,000 infrequent voters. If you're talking about civic engagement, getting all of our young people to understand.
They understand that the reason they don't vote because they don't see the changes.
Well, that's a part of the message.
They don't see the opportunity. The message is one thing. The practice is completely another thing. We get the message, but it's the practice in this state that cause people concern, cause me concern, cause young people concern, because your heart is in the right place, but the people that would manage this office and the people that hired a person to manage this office, we are not so convinced that their hearts are in the right place. But I appreciate you trying.
Thank you.
And hopefully you could be that voice to give the rest of us a little hope. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Gavan of Jefferson. While she's making her way down, the chair would like to recognize the gentle Republican women from Mobile and Southwest Alabama who are a guest of mine, Representative Wilcox, Representative Brown, Representative Stringer, Representative Shirey, Representative Holt-Jones, Representative Fiddler, and Representative Givens. Y'all please stand to be recognized. Welcome. Welcome to the Alabama House of Representatives. Representative Gavan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Hall.
Yes, ma'am.
Who operates the office now?
I'm sorry?
Who operates the office now?
Ms. Stacy Robinson is the director.
Stacy Robinson?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is she housed across the street?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the role of that department or division? I'm not sure if they call it a department or a division.
So if you're looking at the work that has been done over the last 4 years or since it's been in existence, it's longer than that. One is creating a nomination and appointment database to make sure that when there are vacancies in the different positions on committees, et cetera, those things are filled, and that they follow the guidelines as it relates to equity and inclusion. They have a small business also database that has been put in place since this office has been there, and it's to support entrepreneurs' need.
So I guess my question is, I guess because of coming in and under this current administration, one of the first things, of course, to hit the chopping block was DEI. And so as I hear you reference the word inclusion, is that going to still be a part of what the makeup of the department is, or was designed? This is the department, I'm assuming when...
Now let me stop you there. The only thing that changes is the name.
Okay.
A little bit, that's all. All of the other
But
things.
the
that
function
we-
and the role.
Functions and the roles remains the same.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure we weren't modifying anything. So and we're modifying the name for what reason?
Civic engagement to be more inclusive of the activities that take place as it relates to the involvement and the engagement of not only minorities, but in students when they're involved in businesses, et cetera, to be more inclusive of all of
So I guess I'm not sure. I didn't have time. I didn't look at the bill, to be honest with you. But I guess my question is, how are we defining a minority?
So when you go back, you have to look, remember, we're not changing anything but the name. Everything that we had in that bill that passed remains.
Okay. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure, it's a lot that goes on around
I hear
here.
you,
these
I
days.
understand.
Sometimes I don't have time to put my good eye on a bill, and
I would not come before you using
I
your
already
good
know
eye.
that. Now you already know it. Now some folk will, but I know not the teacher, not the teacher. But I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Drummond of Mobile. And while we're waiting, the Chair would like to recognize the Chilton and Autauga County Republican Women's Club. They are here as the guest, Carolyn Carter and Robin Gray. They are the guests of Representative Smith, Bedsole, and Starnes. Please raise your hand, stand to be recognized. Welcome to the Alabama House of Representatives.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the young lady yield?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I wanted to say thank you for changing the name because they do so much more, not around civic engagement. I work on the Women's Commission, and we're getting ready to partner with them on some initiative as it relates to females. And when you look at that definition, it takes in females both from around the state. So I just wanted to say thank you because they need to be with a wider range, so the name does need to change.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Ms. Hall?
I'm an aye. And Mr. Speaker, at the appropriate time, I'd like to substitute Senate Bill 200.
Okay, let me get Ms. Wilcox. Ms. Hall?
Good.
Okay. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 99 yeas, 1 nay. The BIR is adopted. And do you have a substitute?
Yes, sir. I'd like to substitute Senate Bill 200.
What? Yeah.
Midland.
All in favor say aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. The bill is substituted. Question for the body's adoption of the BIR on the Senate Bill 200. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 98 yeas, 1 nay, and the BIR is adopted.
And if there are no further questions, Mr. Speaker, I move the final passage.
Question for the body is final passage of SB 200 is substituted. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 98 yeas, 1 nay. SB 200 passes. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Ms. Hall.
Thank you.
Clerk, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
On page 25 of the calendar, House Bill number 302 with substitute by Representative Brown relating to bail and surety bonding.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is House Bill 302, and what this does basically is updates the bail bondsman's board, updates the power of attorney language, authorizes clerks to report authorized companies within 30 days. Currently, there's no requirement. Then I had a sub as well, and the sub set minimum requirements for escrow accounts, the bail bonds board, it adds a sheriff and a layperson, and it sets minimum residency requirements. That I call for the BR.
Chair recognizes Representative England of Tuscaloosa.
Thank you for the recognition. Will gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
You know, since I've been down here, I've been trying to do things to sort of make the bail bonding industry evolve and with true reform, because the Bail Bonding Act that we operate under right now has been in effect for decades, and there hasn't been any increase in fees or anything associated with CCBs and everything to match inflation.
Right.
And we've passed the bail bond fee years ago with the court cost increase, one of the worst days I've ever had in the legislature. But that's beside the point. It turned out to be a pretty terrible bill, but it did increase court costs because we were under a court funding crisis at the time. And as an aside, the bail bonding agencies, they sued me and Mike Hill, who used to be a member of this.
Yeah.
Hey, we carried the bill and they sued us. What a joke. But anyway, besides all that though, I just want everybody to kind of understand what we're doing. A bonding company could go out on a weekend and write over $1 million worth of bonds. $1 million. Have people spread all over the county who got arrested and they bonded them out of jail. The law only requires them currently to keep $25,000 in escrow. So what we've established is essentially we're allowing you to do whatever you want without any ability to hold you accountable. Most jurisdictions and circuits across the state don't even have forfeiture dockets anymore because they know when they bring them to court to try to get the money because the defendant did not show, they don't have it. So they are put in the unenviable position of either accepting the fact that the defendant is not going to show up or ordering this company to pay a forfeiture they know they do not have the money for. So over the years, we've been doing court cost studies to try to figure out a way to get blood from this turnip, to try to figure out how to continue to fund the court system. One of the biggest liabilities that we carry every year from year to year are unretrieved forfeitures. They could be millions of dollars that normally would go to the court simply because you did not produce that defendant, so now you owe us the money, whatever that bond is. So at the very least, if we're going to engage in any sort of reform, it shouldn't necessarily be driven by the industry itself, because the industry is going to try to continue this system that provides the least amount of accountability for them. But you know who really pays the cost of that system is the court system itself. Because judges can't forfeit bonds and get that money. But two, with defendants themselves, because the bail bonding agencies were able to change the law several years ago, where there's no more percentage bonds in the state, they want all the money, they don't want any of the accountability that's associated with it. So now, whereas courts across the state used to issue percentage bonds to defendants and say, your bond's $100,000, but we're going to give you a 10%. This is how much you owe, and they dealt directly with the court system. Well, when they paid money to the court and they got forfeited, guess where the money would go? It would go to the court system on behalf of the defendant to cover fines, court costs, and restitution. And as an aside, right now, our court system sets up a situation where a victim in a case is competing with the court system itself just to get restitution. So anytime we can retrieve any money from somebody that we wouldn't normally get, we need to take advantage of it. So one of the things that we need to do, and there are certain principles in your bill that I definitely agree with, but part of it is the system itself needs an overhaul. So we can hold people accountable, we can hold the businesses accountable, but the money that a defendant spends in the court system goes on their behalf and not to a business that has no interest in seeing the court system funded. And they don't. I know they'll tell you that, but they could care less. Because ultimately, they don't get their money from the court, they get it from the defendant. And here, imagine this. Imagine you had a defendant that's got a $1 million bond, right? He's in jail. They go talk to mama. Mama says, I can't afford to pay this. I can't put my property up. I ain't got the money. Well, the bondsman will say, well, how about this? Why don't you pay me a percentage, right? Now, the bond itself is $1 million. The bondsman says, I'll put up whatever's necessary to get that person out, and you pay me a monthly fee. That monthly fee could be anything, $100, $50, but what they've effectively done in that situation is lower the bond. They made it easier for that person to get out of jail when the judge clearly intended for this person to stay there. That's the first thing, but the second thing is, we put bond conditions on people all the time that certain things you need to do. Stay off drugs, stay away from people, blah, blah, blah. And the bondsman is supposed to be the person that supervises that person. Nobody ever talks about that, but they're the person that's supposed to have accepted the responsibility for getting you out of jail, and now I'm supposed to keep you from things that will make you dangerous or reoffend. That's their responsibility. That's what they signed up to do. But generally speaking, they don't find out on most occasions where their defendant is until law enforcement arrests them and they see him in court. And they walk in the courtroom and they say, well, there he is. But the other thing is, if you're out on bond, right, and you're making payments to a bondsman and you're doing everything else that you're supposed to do, staying out of trouble, making your payments to the court, maybe even submitting for drug screens and providing clean drug screens, working and doing everything you're supposed to do, but you miss a payment to the bondsman will then come off your bond and lock you up, even if you're doing all the right things. Happens all the time. So any situation where we're setting up a business that needs the court system to survive but doesn't concern themselves with funding that same system, but also, meanwhile, incarcerating people not because they've done something wrong, but because they've missed a payment to a bondsman, that's wrong. That's wrong. And ultimately, if our court system needs funding, a party to that court system that we do, and obviously we depend on them to bring forth defendants and keep them out of trouble, allegedly. Well, if we can't hold them accountable because we can't forfeit them because we don't require them to carry enough money, well, guess what? They're going to do exactly what they're doing now. And to their credit, and I want to just sit here and bash them the entire time, to their credit, they've recognized that there are fundamental issues with their industry, and that's why we have a sunset board, and that's what we're working from now. But with all due respect, I don't believe what you're doing goes far enough to hold them accountable and actually make them a stakeholder in funding our court system appropriately. So I think there are going to be other people that kind of have other questions about what we're doing, but I don't want to, I'm not begrudging you because I think, what you're doing is a start.
Sure.
And it's a bear. I mean, wrestling a system that hasn't been dealt with in over
issue.
20 years. Yeah, in over 20 years.
Yeah.
Where we haven't, I think CCBs are still $10 or $25, things like that. Yeah, it's a bear, and it's going to take a lot of work. But I do commend you for the start of it, but I think there needs to be a bigger conversation about their accountability, the court system's ability to hold them accountable, and also, if we're going to forfeit a bond on somebody who's got a misdemeanor case or a small felony case that's got a $10,000 bond, I would much rather that person put cash up to the court so in the event they don't show up and it's forfeited, the money comes back to us versus a situation where if that person with that small bond doesn't show up, the bondsman comes and says, I ain't got the money, then we don't get anything out of it all. So I know I talked this entire time, but I've been dealing with this for over 16 years, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. I appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Chair recognizes Representative Rim of Henry.
Thank you, Speaker Pro Tem, for the recognition. Representative Brown, I had some questions on this bill. Was in discussion with some of my bondsmen, down in the Wiregrass, and you answered all those questions. You had a good checklist for me to cover, so I just want to let you know I'm supporting this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Appreciate it.
Chair recognizes Representative Ingram of Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've got an amendment at the appropriate time.
We haven't done the BR yet. Chair recognizes Representative Gavan of Jefferson.
I think it needed. I think that's good. I think Representative Ingram's amendment is going to answer part of my concern, but I wanted to just come up. Listen, I was here when, thank you for the recognition, Mr. Speaker, let me say that. So I've been here for a while, and the issues of these bonds and the bail bonding company has come up time and time again. I can recall some of the words that one of the previous speakers spoke relative to these bonds, especially these sureties. I think Representative Ingram's bill amendment is going to answer or assist me in part of the part of the issue. But you know, if you've never seen someone where a bond has been forfeited, then I tell people all the time they need to understand and try to learn the bail bonding process, and especially how these sureties work. So your bill, Brown, does what?
Modernizes the board. It deals with like reporting. Circuit clerks have to report the number of authorized companies. It sets residency requirements. Right now, there's no requirements or resident requirements if you have a bail bonds license through a surety bond. Sets it at a year. It adds a sheriff and a layperson to the board. It requires, like I said, minimum residency requirements. Updates their forms.
And what's the, did you have an amount in there with regards to the bonds?
It's 25,000 in
Okay.
smaller communities and 50,000 in like Jefferson County.
And that's why I was wondering why was it not higher? And so I think Reed Ingram's bill that I think he shared with me that it's going to take care of that to increase it. Well, an amendment, and hopefully it will be a friendly amendment. So, but why did you all cap it at the amounts that you capped it?
Well, that's a starting point. That's where we figured was a good number to go at.
Do we have a total number of, did you do, as it relates to your due diligence, the number of forfeitures that we actually have throughout the state of Alabama?
I do not know that. That's a good question.
Yeah, I would like to know, hopefully listen, I don't know what this funding, this board does. I think they started off pretty good out the chute, but I think what happens in situations, and I think what the previous speaker was alluding to, is that we need to do an overhaul, and it needs to be a true overhaul, not a nitpick for a few. And if we're gonna have a board that is established, it needs to be a board that will truly work to bring about a comprehensive bonding packet. The reason I say that is I work with different bonding companies. But if I have 5 bonding companies, 3 of them, if not 2 of them, are totally opposed to any legislation or on the opposite ends of the spectrum with regards to legislation that we may bring forward. And I'm saying to myself, I need to figure out a more uniform system so we can better create a process for bonding under the law with the right regulations, or at least enough of. Nothing is going to be perfect in the world. There's never a perfect one size fits all. But it just amazes me how separate or how separated on issues many of the bonding companies are from the board.
Yeah.
And I think that is, and out of all of the industries or different, boards and creations or whatever we have, they are more disjointed than any group that I have seen. And I would like to see, I too would like to see and recommend that hopefully somebody will champion the cause of maybe coming up with a true comprehensive bonding and surety packet of laws here in the state of Alabama. I'm glad that Ingram is I don't know where he went. I know he has an amendment. So I'm glad that he is bringing that amendment, but I too agree. I went through a lot with the city of Brookside a few years ago, and a lot of folks lost their homes, they lost their cars, a lot of forfeitures that went on for different reasons, and it was just one of those things where and I don't want to blame the bonding, a lot of it also fell on the jurisdiction, the municipal jurisdiction. And I wish that we would have something set that we make sure that from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, there's a level of uniformity. And I think that has been one of the biggest problems in the bonding industry.
Differences in the
Yeah,
courts,
it's
yeah.
it's so disjointed, and instead of getting better over the years, it has gotten progressively worse in some areas. I don't know, I think when Claire was there leading the board a few years ago, I think she, did a pretty good job with what she had to work with in trying to move the needle. And, since then, I have not kept up with it. I had a serious situation with a client that we represented from the city of Tarrant, and there was this real wacky bail bondsman who, that was just beyond out of control. But with that being said, I will await the amendment from Representative Ingram. He's back, and then I'll see how that goes. But I'm hoping, like I said, as the quadrennium closes and a new one begins, that someone will champion that cause and move the needle on it. I think that would be a good thing. So I appreciate your effort.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 81 yeas, 5 nays. The BIR is adopted. Chair recognizes Representative Ingram of Montgomery. Oh, wait a minute. Question for the body's adoption of the sub. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 77 yeas, 2 nays. The substitute's been adopted. The chair now recognizes Representative Ingram of Montgomery.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman Yule.
Yes, sir.
I've got an amendment. We've discussed it. I don't know if it's going to be friendly or not, but what the amendment does is take the assurity from $25,000 to $100,000, and it's $50,000 now in larger cities because they do more. But with bonds being out there, attempted murder or whatever, maybe $1 million. The $25,000 is not very much money for that. Even in the car business, I had a $100,000 bond on that. But anyway, so that's what the amendment does. Is it a friendly amendment?
I consider this a friendly amendment.
Chair recognizes Representative Gavan of Jefferson. Okay. Question for the body's adoption of the amendment. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 83 yeas, no nays. The amendment is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the sponsor for working with me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. You too. Call for final passage.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 302 is amended. Substituted an amendment. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 74 yeas, 3 nays. HB 302 passes. Clerk, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members.
On page 43 of the calendar, House Bill number 370 with substitute by Representative Lee relating to counties and municipalities.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Lee, hold on. Let me recognize, we've got some guests in the balcony of Winston County and Coleman County Republican Women's Club. They're the guests of Representative Wadsworth, Myrick, Albright, and Estes. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Actually, all the Republican women, please stand and be recognized. Welcome to the Alabama House of Representatives. Thank you for joining us. Okay, Chairman Leader Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I get started, I've got several steps that we're going to have to go through to get to the final version if I'm fortunate enough to pass this. But over the last year, we've been doing a lot of work on local pay. And if you've been here very long, you've already seen this. If not, it's coming hopefully it won't after we fix this. But you have different positions in different areas, whether it's your county, probate judge, those that have been tied down, and whenever someone's elected, they are not able to actually take the salary of the previous person. So, give you an idea, Alabama Sheriff's Association, probate judges, Alabama tax administrators, all these groups have been working on this for a year. It's been a collaborative effort and agree. This is an unusual situation, but they all agree. The examiners of public accounts have reviewed the bill and believe it brings clarity to certain reoccurring issues, will hopefully prevent us from having to bring local laws and take care of that. The Omnibus Bill Pay Act was enacted in 2000. That governs the compensation of these local officials: county commissioners, judge of probate, sheriffs, tax assessors, tax collectors, revenue commissioners, licensed commissioners, and elected assistant tax assessors. So you can just imagine the work that's been put into this. 26 years later, what we're doing, we're setting an annual base compensation for local officials at the amount that official is receiving on May 31st of 2026. There's not an increase, there's not a decrease. That becomes their base pay. It clarifies when local officials are entitled to a uniform increase. In other words, if there's a 2 or 3% cost of living that's across the board, that elected official will receive it. If an official or if employees start getting other kind of raises, they won't get that. So it allows it to be consistent across the state. It ensures that a local official's compensation is not based on the longevity or the merit of another person. I'll give you an example. There's some probate judges in the state that salary is tied to maybe a circuit judge or some other type judge. It allows them to be standalone. Now, I think it's important, and one of the amendments that I'm going to bring here in just a minute protects raises that come through local law. In other words, if your local group wants to give a raise, they're welcome to do that. But what we're trying to do is give consistency across the board. That is the final version when I hopefully get this done at the end. But right now, Mr. Speaker, I ask for a BIR.
Chair recognizes Representative Gavan of Jefferson.
Whatever the base is, whatever the salary was on May 31st, 2026. Yes, ma'am.
That was going to be one of my questions also. Did you work with all of the municipalities or just, the legal municipalities and?
Well, it was just a county.
And
City,
the county, the county. I meant Sonny and that.
Yes, ma'am.
Sonny and that rough crew,
For a year.
or should I say Sonny? Sonny.
For a year.
For a whole year. So so Sonny. Okay. And so these were the recommendations that they had. And my question is, even in working with Sonny and the County Commission Association, I just want to make sure that we heard, or that there was, and I know you may not be able to answer this, that as a collective, they brought forth the recommendations of all 67 counties.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear on that. Now, I see here we strike the language with regards to the sheriffs as well as the county commissioners, judges, and tell me what the modification, help me bring clarity as to the modifications, because there are so many strike-throughs on here, it made it a little difficult for me to catch up to see where you were trying to go with it.
Well, if I may, I'm not sure if you have the substitute that we substitute.
Thought I had, yeah, I have the sub right here.
Okay.
No, I'm on 5.
What particular page are you on?
All of them. I've just gone back through, starting on page, at the, line 46 onward, page 2. And I see where we struck the language, and I know during your opening monologue and dissertation, you had intimated regarding the sheriffs and the, the different jobs or job classifications. So help me understand more clear. This is a very serious bill that we're about to pass, with a lot of implications. For one, we have, district attorneys, and I hope that at some point, and I know we have some great district attorneys, and I'm appreciative of them. But as we begin to look at the modification and how we go about these salaries, we certainly need to look at some legislation that needs to be changed in the way that district attorneys are paid with the level of uniformity, especially when someone like me lives in Jefferson, where there are 600, almost 700,000 people, over nearly 100 murders per year just out of that county, and we only have 1 or 2 investigators, 1 district attorney, and I think about 40-something ADAs, or give or take. I just think we need to look at, as we are beginning to make these substantial changes in these positions, that we certainly look at the law. And, I have heard that, well, you can't do it, and certain prosecutors would be upset. Well, those prosecutors need to move to a county where they have 600 and some thousand people, 100 murders, that's just murders, no, not other crimes, and you are understaffed and don't have enough investigators. In some of these counties, they barely have even 50, 20 murders a year. So, I just want to just lay that out there, but help me get to where we are on this one.
I'd be happy to. That is striking old language, period, because a lot of it has calculations of how their salary goes, so it's striking all that and going back and setting that date of whatever the date was, May into 2026. Let me look at my notes here. I've got 100 notes. May 31st of 2026. If you remember me mentioning just a few minutes ago how some are tied to different judges and those type things, we're doing away with all that.
Okay.
We're doing away with that and setting that date as the salary of whatever they are. We're not giving raises. We're not taking raises away, but it is a new day, rather than going back and having to calculate all of the calculations that's been struck here. It makes it uniform and easy, and when somebody runs for office, they know what they're going to get if they win and get in office. If you'll remember, if I may, if you remember, I've been up here a time or two over the last several years about trying to get it taken care of. If someone has been in office for, say, 10 years, 15 years, and they have gotten these increases. Well, what's happened is, with the omnibus bill previously, that person that ran for office had to go back to the start of what that person started with. So that opened our eyes to say, we need to correct the whole issue, and that's where it started a year ago.
Okay, do we know how often they give these increases? Or make these
You're talking about cost of living? That's
Or
totally
these
up to the.
That's up to them.
Totally up to the
just
county.
through their regular budgetary process.
That's totally up to them. They may not do it, or they may. It may be 1%.
Tell me the impact then on the merit system, those that fall on the merit system or personnel board system, because.
Okay, if that is one piece, say for instance, now this is only for cost of living. If the cost of living is increased over, say, 10 years, okay, a new person comes in, that person's going to get that cost of living. Now, if it's a merit system and they get a raise just for themselves, that part's not in it because they've done something special to get it. if that makes sense.
So that's more promotional.
That's right.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, it's as fair, I think, as we've had ever.
So what made you bring this bill, though?
Well, I got tired of bringing local bills, just to be honest with you. And it opened my eyes that, oh, well, gosh, we're not the only one. We're not the only one in the county that has this problem, and where there's a bigger problem here. And I would personally not want to have a job that my salary was tied to someone over here. I want to work on my own and up to my own self, answer for my own work ethic.
So these will be different. So in other words, the cost may vary from county to county.
Oh yeah, that's correct. I mean, that was the part we had to work through, because you can't go in and say everybody in the county, in the state's going to get the same amount.
Yeah.
So that's why we had to pick a date.
And it may be what I was alluding to, even with these district attorneys, that we need to look at. I think that law needs to be restructured based upon the size of the county,
Email her because she.
certainly the caseload in the county. And I just pray that at some point we get to that point, and like I've said to people, to do away with the hater mentality, because folks, the argument has been, well, if you did for one. I mean, I don't buy that argument. I just think that it's disproportionate in the pay, and no reflection on anybody else, but certainly if your caseload, is certainly not that of what is being experienced in larger jurisdictions or counties, I think it needs to be set up a little different as to how district attorneys should be paid. That's just my thought on it, and hopefully some wise person
You come up with that.
will come up with that, and then everything I've been told is that there will be an objection. I think the city of Mobile, but that's through their city. I think most recently, I think they did an appropriation through their city coffers for $1 million to go to their district attorneys, and I thought that was brilliant. Ideal to be able to do that. Immediately when I heard about it, I shared it with our district attorney. And again, Jefferson County is always a little bit different type of animal in all aspects of everything. But I just hope that we will give consideration.
And this does not take any ability away from the locals to do anything different as far as increasing. So I think that's very important.
Yeah. And I just wanted to make sure and at least know how you were setting up this construct, but you also mentioned as I closed that you brought this so you wouldn't have to keep coming back.
Well, it just makes it easier for the process, and it's consistent. It's consistent across the state. I think it would be bad, in my opinion. I hear people say, well, I'm running for office. I have no idea what to pay. I don't believe that. They know what to pay.
Yeah,
they know what to pay is.
Yeah, they know.
And they've looked at the previous person, the salary. And I mean, you've got to make a business decision whether you can first afford to do it or so.
Okay.
We just need everything transparent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Shaver of Cherokee County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
When I looked at this bill, I thought I understood it clearly, but now there's been some discussion that's raised some questions in my mind, so I just need you to straighten me out here.
Okay.
Now, it is superseding all of the previous bills that tied pay to another's pay
Yes.
and freezes it as of May 2026.
Yes.
And so going forward, any raises are done locally, like a cost of living or...
Across the board, they will receive it.
Okay. So even going forward, those that are set by being like, if you've got a circuit clerk that's 90% of the probate judge's pay...
Do away with that.
That does away with that. Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 95 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted.
Mr. Speaker, I just explained the substitutes that came out of the committee, so I move for a motion to adopt.
Question for the body is adoption of the substitute. The clerk will lock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 96 yeas, no nays. The substitute is adopted.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I move to substitute this with SB 259. It's not identical, but if the body will allow me, I'm going to make it identical with an amendment coming.
All in favor of substituting Senate bill, say aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. The Senate bill has been substituted.
Okay, I'll read the amendment. Replace line 111 on page 4 with the following: unless otherwise provided by law. What this does, just to give you an example in context of it, it protects raises that come through local law. I think that was a question just a few minutes ago. We don't want to tie any local law's hand. All right, replace line 193 through 194 on page 7 with the following: notwithstanding the legislature by local law may increase the compensation for local officials covered under this. Just clarifying all that. Replace lines 204 through 205 on page 8 with the following: 2026 regular session, which is in contradiction to subdivision 1. What this does, it protects the supernumerary sheriffs. I think there are about 4 supernumerary sheriffs still left. So it protects them. Eventually, they're going away. Age will catch up with us. So what we're doing is protecting them and at the end of the day. So that is the amendment on the Senate bill, Mr. Speaker. I ask for adoption of that.
But we got to adopt the BIR first.
That's right.
Mr. Caban, do you want to speak on the BIR or do you want to speak on the amendment to the Senate bill? Okay. Question for the body is adoption of the BIR on Senate Bill 259. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 99 yeas, 1 nay. The BIR is adopted. Now the chair recognizes Representative Gavan of Jefferson to speak on the amendment.
You can keep your copy. She'll give. So give me the clarification on this and how did you curate this process with regards to the amendment itself?
Well, this was taken care of in the House. We
Okay.
saw this was a problem, so we wanted to correct it.
And explain-
This was the sheriff's.
Mhm.
They wanted to make sure that the proper language was inserted. And the first couple of sections, what it does, it protects the raises that come through local law. We don't want to take any local law opportunities away from them. If they want to do whatever
Yeah, and
they
that
want
was
to do.
one of the
that's your
questions I
choice.
think that I had a moment
That's right.
ago. And so your amendment basically says that this will not,
It doesn't tie the hands of the local law.
or it doesn't usurp the authority of the local legislature, governing bodies.
Right, and this is already in the House bill. It's just, it didn't make it in the Senate bill.
Okay.
And I'm about to adopt the Senate bill. I'm going to make them identical.
And and then the next change is what?
That one protects the supernumerary sheriffs.
And you said there are how many?
I think the number I remember.
I didn't think it was still 20 something.
Well, it may be less.
I thought it was less. I might be wrong. I'm not always right on stuff. Those things I know those things that I don't. I'm not ashamed to say that I don't know them. But I thought they were less, and it probably
Maybe.
is. Okay. Okay, and so, but you made a comment about those that are supernumerary. that some will age out anyway.
Well, I mean, age is gonna catch up with all of us.
Listen, it's already catching up. It's been caught up. Just one thing you're not gonna beat is Father Time. You know, I just thinking about that. I was looking at a show the other day about Ray Lewis, and they were saying when he got ready to retire from the NFL, and people were like, "Why are you retiring?" And he says, "There's a lot of things I can beat, but I can't beat Father Time. It's gonna catch up with you one way or the other." But okay, and so then what happens with that word supernumeraries that will eventually age out or what have you?
Well, they won't age out.
They won't age,
Basically,
but
they'll die.
They'll die. Well,
That's right.
I'd rather say age.
Well, that's why
I went on my knees
I
the other
avoided
night
that.
talking about death. I went down on one knee the other night. One good knee.
Yep.
So when we say that word, and it ain't failed me yet.
Yep.
So with that being said, I just wanted to make sure
They're taken care of.
that I had the clarity, because again, there are a lot of, especially in Jefferson County and that system there, and anything that's relative to raises, jobs, certainly anything relative to that classification system, merit system, in many regards, it gets to be very, very sticky. Very, very sticky. So I just want to make sure that we're not doing something. And I didn't speak with Sonny. Oh, there's Sonny is. I didn't realize the superstar was up in the gallery. He's gonna text me in a minute. But usually he'll at least send a little note or something. But all right, well, with that being said, I appreciate it. I just wanted to get the clarity on the amendment. This is all the amendment, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm making it identical to what we brought out in the House.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because some of these subs, amendments you all have been bringing to these subs, I just wanted to add one thing. When this quadrennium started, we said we were trying to eliminate having these subbed on the floor with these amendments that bring about so many other layers.
Right.
So, but I've noticed in the last few weeks, we're bringing about amendments that almost are book-sized amendments to these bills. So I'm hoping we will go back to what we said we were going to do at the beginning of the quadrennium and not bring such lengthy amendments and not already having them already incorporated. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question for the body's adoption of the amendment. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 98 yeas, no nays. The amendment's been adopted.
Mr. Speaker, we now have the original House bill identical to the Senate bill, and it substituted.
So the
I
question
move
for the
final
body
passage.
is final passage of SB 259 is substituted and amended. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 100 yeas, no nays. SB 259 passes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and the body.
Congratulations. Clerk, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
On page 42 of the calendar, House Bill number 393, with substitute by Representative Lawrence, relating to tax abatement and tax incentive programs.
Chair recognizes Representative Lawrence of Lowndes County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the recognition. HB 93 is a bill that's on the current law. The state of Alabama has established research development corridors to include grants and various tax abatements that make reference to the outdated Accelerated Alabama Strategic Economic Plan. So this bill would remove those references and align the NIAC codes with all of the current provisions of the Alabama Jobs Act. So, Mr. Speaker, if there's no other question, I move for the BR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 94 yeas, no nays. The BR is passed.
Mr. Speaker, I think we do have a committee sub.
I have a sub on mine, yes.
That's correct. And the committee sub basically is just add some more technical changes, and also have a few typos, misspelled words, and so another mention of the old plan, and then we replace it with the new plan, the Catalyst.
Chair recognizes Representative Hall of Madison.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, with the gentleman yield,
Yes, ma'am.
help me to understand what do you consider technical?
Well, I wouldn't say.
But let me say this, when I start on that, are you saying in addition to what you've done, what those were the things that happened in the committee meeting? Those
Well, in the committee, in the current bill, it was some changes that should have been made in this bill, but they wasn't made, so we incorporated all of them into the sub.
Okay.
Specifically on if you look at page 2 on the sub.
Got it. Yes, sir.
And lines 30, I think right here it was still mentioned as the Accelerate Alabama
Okay.
strategic plan, and it was changed to the current plan, which is the Catalyst.
Got it. All right. So so I see that's the same process that also moved on page 5.
Yeah, on line 130, correct.
Right.
And then all the rest of the changes were misspelled words, typos. Like if you look on same page 5, line 113, where it says any trade business predominantly was misspelled, so they made that change.
Got it. I'm good. I was hoping I was following
Okay.
what you were using. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question for the body is adoption of the substitute. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 95 yeas, no nays. The substitute's been adopted.
Mr. Speaker, there are no other questions. I move for final
Question for
passage
the-
of HB 93 as substituted.
Question for the body's final passage. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 93 yeas, no nays. HB 393 is substituted passes. Clerk, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
On page 7 of the calendar, House Bill number 141, with substitute by Representative Brown, relating to public utilities.
Chair recognizes Representative Brown of Mobile.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have this House Bill 141. This deals with cities under 5,000 and just allows them, it updates their pay charts that they can extend. Currently, board members can get up to $400. This extends it to $600. And chairman currently gets $600, extends it to $1,200. That's the top. They don't have to get paid that or anything really. But like I said, it's only cities under 5,000. It also extends the terms so that they can catch up to the municipal terms that we extended a couple years ago. Mr. Speaker, I call for the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 99 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted.
Mr. Speaker, we had a sub too. And all the sub did, we just made it effective immediately instead of in October.
Question for the body's adoption of the sub. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 97 yeas, no nays. The substitute's been adopted.
Mr. Speaker, I call for final passage.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 141 is substituted. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 94 yeas, no nays. SB 141 passes. Clerk will call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 18 of the calendar, House Bill number 135 with substitute by Representative Brown relating to ports.
Welcome back. Chair recognizes Representative Brown.
Good to see you again, Mr. Speaker. This is House Bill 135. This just updates a Senate version that we passed 2 years ago, Senator Orr, that created a inland port grant program. All this does is update some of the language, and it extends it to, from currently it's at $3 million. This would make it $5 million. It still sunsets in 2028.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will lock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Call for final passage.
All right, you got a sub.
Oh, yeah. In the sub, all we did was just actually, it was all grammatical and updated a couple of issues that may have negatively impacted it. It was basically technical in nature.
Chair recognizes Representative Datcher of Jefferson.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for the recognition with the gentleman.
Yes,
yield.
sir.
I just want to thank you for this. This is particularly vital for us that here in Birmingham with Birmingport, we're continuing to grow out there. I do want to take a moment to thank Senator Britt. She gave us a $1 million grant that's allowing us to create a master plan for our port. So we look forward to growing and partnering with you guys even more down south.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Chair recognizes Representative Hall of Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The gentleman here,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
mentioned there were some issues when you talked about the substitute. I was trying to see what were those things that was.
No, well, all we really did, it had a couple of grammatical issues in there, and then there was one port that was left off in the description of inland ports. So this encompasses all of them that wasn't in the original version.
So I was trying to see. So and that port was.
Balabatry.
But I didn't see the name Balabatry.
It's not in there. It's just the way that the description of inland ports was done, that it was said off the. It said excluding coastal ports, and so Balabatry is actually in my district.
Excluding ports for what?
Coastal ports, which we have
Okay,
one that's a
excluding
commercial port. That's Balabatry.
All right,
So.
thank you.
Question for the body's adoption of the substitute. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 104 yeas, no nays. The substitute's been adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Call for final passage.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 135 is substituted. The clerk will lock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. HB 135 passes as substituted. Clerk, call the next bill on the
Thank you,
special
Mr.
order
Speaker.
calendar.
Thank you, members.
On page 55 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 228 by Senator Gavan relating to the Alabama Space Authority.
Chair recognizes Representative Lomax.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Currently under ADECA, there's an office to promote the Alabama Space Authority, which promotes research and development within those industries. This bill would simply rename the authority the Alabama Aerospace and Defense Authority to try to capture more industry. With that, I move for the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 104 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I believe we may have an amendment.
Clerk will receive the amendment.
Mr. Speaker, if the Honorable Whip is okay, I've got an amendment.
Amendment 2, Senate Bill number 228 by Representative Paramore.
It's simply what this does is on several spots on page 1 and page 2. The lines, it's line 12 on page 1 and line 28 on page 1, line 38 on page 2, 43 on page 2, and 47 on page 2. It actually adds the words "and defense." So it names it the Alabama State Authority shall be the Alabama Aerospace and Defense Authority. So that's the only thing the amendment does is clear up the technical language.
Yeah, it's a friendly amendment from here.
Question for the body is adoption of the amendment. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote.
Mr. Whip.
You've been watching this.
Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 104 yeas, no nays. The amendment is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move for final passage as amended.
Question for the body's final passage. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 101 yeas, no nays. SB 228 passes. Congratulations. Clerk, call the next bill on the special order calendar.
On page 43 of the calendar, House Bill number 372 by Representative Rigsby relating to the Department of Insurance.
I recognize Representative Rigsby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last year we passed PBM legislation, and this expanded the Alabama Department of Insurance authority to regulate PBMs. In doing so, they have created the PBM Compliance Division, and they need 2 qualified individuals to run this division. And so they're asking for 2 exempt positions to help them with this effort. Just a note, since we have enacted this legislation, the department has received over 3,000 complaints. And so they're needing these 2 positions to make sure that they have qualified individuals that can do the work that we have asked them to do. So with that, I move for the BR.
Chair recognizes Representative Reynolds of Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative, just for clarification now, there has been some concerns that these positions would impact the general fund, but it's my understanding it will be paid from within the insurance division, correct?
That's correct. In the PBM legislation that was proposed or that was passed in 2019, there was a statute set up where they can collect fees and fines from the PBMs. Those funds will be used to pay for these 2 positions. They will not be taken out of the general fund.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted.
With that, Mr. Speaker, if there's no further questions, I move for adoption of HB 372.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 372. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Has everybody voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 100 yeas, no nays, and HB 372 passes. Congratulations. Clerk, call the next bill on the calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank members.
On page 52 of the calendar, House Bill number 263 with substitute by Representative Robbins relating to biological and neural data.
Chair recognizes Representative Robbins.
Thank you, Speaker. So what this bill does, it says that if you are a health or wellness app and you are acquiring medical grade data, you have to treat it basically like you would HIPAA information. So with that, I move for, I've got to introduce the sub too, right? But I got to pass this first, right?
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted.
And in committee, we added an amendment, which is what the sub is. It further kind of tightened the definition of a covered entity to simply health and wellness apps. Before, it included more than just health and wellness apps. And it also provides, it clarifies how a consumer has to give consent. So with that, I move for passage of the substitute.
Question for the body's adoption of the substitute. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 104 yeas, no nays. The substitute's been adopted.
and I also have an amendment to the sub. That amendment kind of further clarifies and tightens the definition of biological data, and it also clarifies neural data because the previous definition included beyond the central nervous system, and it could become a little bit difficult, and it further clarifies how you can share and use data within an internal process of a company. So with that, I move for passage of the approval of the amendment.
Question for the body's adoption of the amendment. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 104 yeas, no nays. The amendment is adopted.
So with that, I move for final passage of the substitute as amended.
Question for the body's final passage. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 104 yeas, no nays. SB 263 passes as substituted and amended.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
Speaker. Yeah, thank you, body.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Mobile, yet again, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So this is SB 90 by Senator David Sessions, my good friend. What we're doing here is, last year we passed some legislation dealing with wholesale seafood licenses, and somehow by the time it passed the Senate, got over to the governor, a section of the code was left off, and so this just corrects that mistake from last year, includes that section of code that includes all commercial fishermen. Then I call for the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 100 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Call for final passage.
Question for the body's final passage of SB 90. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, no nays. SB 90 passes. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Clerk,
Thank you,
call the
members.
next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 44 of the calendar, House Bill number 342 with substitute by Representative DuBose relating to taxation.
Chair recognizes Representative DuBose.
Thank you. I am here today to present HB 342, which codifies Governor Ivey's executive order that allows Alabama to participate in the federal tax credit program to fund K through 12 scholarships. And with that, I move for the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted.
Yes, I have a committee sub that I need to add to that, and this is where the Department of Revenue may establish rules for the implementation and administration of this act.
Question for the body's adoption of the substitute. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 99 yeas, no nays. The substitute's been adopted.
Yes, I move for final passage of HB 349 as substituted.
You've heard the question. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. HB 342 passes as substituted. Clerk will call the next bill in the special order
Thank you,
calendar.
members. Thank you, body.
On page 16 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 168 by Senator Chasteen relating to education.
Chair recognizes Representative Holsey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, body. The goal of Senate Bill 168 is to strengthen the implementation of the Alabama Literacy Act, which has been yielding incredible results thanks to the partnership between the Alabama Reading Initiative, Governor Ivey, and this legislature. Our body passed this bill last year 100 to 0. With that, Mr. Speaker, I ask for the BIR.
Question for the body's oh, wait a minute. Chair recognizes Ms. Hall of Madison.
So close.
I know they were just feeling bad. They didn't mean to groan. That was somebody else talking. Thank you. Help me to understand why we are doing this versus the education department.
I don't know why the State Department isn't doing. I don't know why they do or don't do anything. I just know that this is something that we've been working on with all partners. We've had tons of feedback. This is the third time we've had it in this chamber. And this year we just started in the Senate because that's where it tends to get hung up. So they got all that stuff worked out, brought it back down. But we're just trying to make sure that what we are doing in our classrooms continues to enforce the Literacy Act, and it continues to make sure that our kids are learning based on the science of reading. I can't answer the question about what the department does or does not do. I'm sorry about that.
And I think the only thing, hold up. The only thing that I will say is this. We continue to do things that I think education should be doing, period. We talk about how we ought to teach, and it's after the fact. I'm not opposed to the bill, but it does cause me to have questions, and then we're gonna it's like, what is the education department doing? That just amazes me that we, who are not in the classroom, not dealing, but yet we have concerns for the kids because we all want them to get a good education. So I have a difficult time in how we continue. And then when I talk to educators, they will say, well, nobody said anything, and you all are passing these bills. Nobody invited us to be a part of the discussion or have that. I got the information last night when I was reading it, and it started raising questions. Now, is that if the education department says that's the process we're using in the state, then that's what we use. And so to me, up to this point, what is your understanding in terms of what is being used in our classrooms?
Well, they're supposed to be using the Literacy Act, but we do have schools in our communities
Stop right there.
teaching.
Let's stop right there. So if they're supposed to be using the Literacy Act, did we state in the Literacy Act?
Same thing.
You know, I don't get in front of anybody's conversation when I'm up here. I don't do that. That's not me. I don't do that. I think it's disrespectful. And I try to act like my grandmother and my parents taught me some manners. So I'm back. Okay. That when we're talking about this, the Literacy Act, did it indicate in the Literacy Act that we would be utilizing this process?
I wasn't a part of passing that. I don't know without reading that. I just know that we have the science of reading. That's what we want our teachers teaching our kids, so they're learning how to read.
They are.
We also
Are we
have
asking,
systems
have we
that are
talked-
using 3Qing as their primary teaching source.
I'm sorry.
We also have systems that are using 3Qing as one of their primary teaching sources, and that's not helping our kids learn how to decode.
And so that means that there is no actions have been taken as a legislator or by the education department. There have not been any actions taken that is not the process that which we would like to have.
Well, there has been action taken. This body has voted on this twice, and then it obviously this is its third year, and it's come out of the Senate. So there's been efforts for 3 years to address this.
To include educators as a part of it.
Everybody was invited to the table. I'm not going to sit down and work on a bill and not invite people to the table. That is not what I'm doing. And a lot of those conversations also happened. I'm sure they were identical to the ones down here. upstairs in the Senate. And those things are reflected in this piece of legislation.
So you're saying there have been educators such as elementary school teachers, preschool teachers.
There are organizations on their
school,
behalf.
Early school, preschool have been a part of the conversation. And
I can tell you that the organizations that represent those individuals have been at the table voicing their concerns and working through those things to get those things addressed.
And these were organizations not outside of the Department of Education, but a part of our Department of Education. You
What do you
know,
mean?
within the department, there are different areas. I just see us doing this over and over again.
I hear you.
And it concerns me. Thank you.
I understand.
Chair recognizes Representative Gavan of Jefferson. While we're waiting to her, ladies and gentlemen, anybody's headed southbound on I-65, there's a wreck with fatalities around Evergreen, so the interstate's backed up, so plan on alternative routes if you go down I-65.
How are you? How are you?
I am fantastic. How about you?
I'm fabulous.
I'm glad to hear it.
I wake up like this.
Atta girl, I do too.
I post up like this, ride round in it. Yeah. Listen. What does this bill do? I missed it.
So, this bill addresses common barriers to student learning, which is a non-evidence-based method of instruction referred to as non-cueing. And it essentially, it removes that as their primary teaching source. And that's really it. It's that simple. So we're just trying to make sure that our schools are actually following the science of reading and not using this to teach kids.
So non-evidence-based. Did you say non-evidence-based? What does that mean?
So at the end of the day, what we've got is there's really nothing out there that is going to help these kids learn other than teaching them how to actually read, which is decoding language. The evidence that we have that supports that the science of reading is the best and only way to do that. We've passed bills that already addressed that in the past, long before I got here. But at the end of the day, this is not teaching kids how to decode. That's not even what the technique is. So.
No, you finish. You can finish.
I'm fine. You go ahead.
So, Lee, help me understand when you say these kids, are you talking of all students or a particular classification of students? And I think that's what I'm trying to get the clarity on.
This addresses K through 12.
Oh, so, okay. That's what was throwing me off because once someone says these kids, I didn't know if they were some who had certain learning disorders, deficiencies. So you mean all students that are in the public school system?
Yes,
or in the
and
school system?
I think it's important too, as you bring up the disability community, to remind everyone that IEPs and 504s, you can do whatever you need to in that to ensure that that child has every need met.
Mm-hmm.
So that would supersede this as well.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get to. You know, like I deal with a lot of educators in my profession, and IAPs are sometimes one of those issues that come up and issues that may arise. And so once I heard you say these students, I really didn't know if you were looking at some that had disorders, learning disorders versus those that are those students who may not. And so I didn't understand, and I wanted to get the clarity on what you meant by these students, and just to make sure we were talking about all students.
We are.
Okay. But now back to when you say decoding, help me understand, bring some a level of clarity to that for me.
It's phonics-based learning how to sound out and put things together so that you actually know how to read the words.
Okay. And is that by way of some type of instrumentality, or is it just something that's taught?
It's taught.
Just taught. Okay. Okay. All right, I just wanted to get the clarity. I don't have a problem with the one way or the other. I'm coming up here because I really wanted to get some understanding. If it's something that I don't know, I don't know. And I don't want to be caught in a scenario or setting and someone says, well, da-da-da-da, and I'm like, huh, what? You know, so, and I know Representative Hall was, you know, speaking of folks, you know, walking up. I agree with her. You know, I don't believe in trying to intimidate folks because they may say something that you don't want to be said, that is the truth or whatever. And that's why I said I ain't never scared. I ain't easily intimidated, and I fight with the best of them. As a matter of fact, when I was a kid, I was the only girl in the group, so I was a tomboy and had to grow up with all of the boys. That's how I got this mark up here on my head. And I would fight with the best of them, so I'm not easily intimidated. It's a joke to me. And but, you know, some people, you know, are a little bit different and take things maybe a little bit differently. So, you know, I believe in looking a devil in the eye and calling them what they are. If you're a devil, you're a devil. So, but with that being said, I appreciate the opportunity to come up and get this clarity. And I'm going to take a further look at this bill, but thank you.
Thank you.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 100 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted. Question now is for the body is final passage of SB 168. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 98 yeas, no nays. SB 168 passes. Congratulations, Representative.
Thank you. And members, thank you. This was 3 years of really hard work, and I thank the good Lord we have finally put it behind us.
The chair would like to recognize the gentlewoman from Mobile, Miss Wilcox. Margie, Miss Wilcox. Your talent is called for.
Stand up, Philip Pettis. It is my time to embarrass you. It is Representative Pettis' birthday and Representative Jim Hill, who's not here. So if y'all will join me in singing happy birthday to both of them. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pettis and Hill. Happy birthday to you.
Congratulations and a happy birthday. Before I recognize the gentleman from Lee, I'd like to remind you the YMCA Youth Legislature will be in this chamber this weekend. Please remove all your personal effects from the top of your desk, under your desk, and around your desk. No blankets, no heaters, so that way it'll be safe while we're gone. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Lee for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House stand adjourned.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Ayes clearly have it. We are adjourned. You have a lovely weekend. I will. Thank you. All righty.